Hello, Insomniacs. It's Kurious Cyclopes.
And Steve.
Welcome back to Never Sleep Again TV. We got another fun topic today. So we're going to talk about best horror villain backstories or origins.
Yeah.
So, Steve, you want to start this one off?
Sure. I went a little left of center on this. Went with some weirder stuff. The first one I have is Ghoul from Sinister.
Yeah, I don't know anything about that, but
it's pretty cool. He is apparently an ancient pagan Babylonian deity.
Wow.
Who consumes the souls of human children. He possesses a realm of his own and can travel into the mortal world via images of himself. And that's what you see in the movie, that when you see a video of him or a photo of him, he can actually... That's a portal for him.
Yeah. Wow. That's actually really, really cool.
Yeah, it's a really cool story.
You wouldn't think that that's a found footage movie, or?
No, it's mostly standard. You see some home videos from people that he shows up in, but that's all.
Alright, cool. Yeah, that's definitely a cool story.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Nice backstory.
Yeah.
I mean, Babylonian pagan demon thing.
The eater of children and shit. Yeah.
So what else we got here? Ooh, I see your nose.
Oh, am I going for another one?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck me if I pronounce this right, but from The Conjuring, that Bathsheba Sherman.
That's quite a name, quite a mouthful.
Ain't it? But apparently the backstory is she was a 1800s devil worshipper, that in 1863 she married a rich farmer and she had a kid with him. But when the kid was only a week old, her husband caught her trying to sacrifice the kid for Satan. But so now that she was caught, she ran out and climbed to the top of a tree and started screaming out and proclaimed her love for Satan and basically cursed anybody who would take over her land. So then she hung herself from the tree. But obviously her spirit stayed and haunted the land, and that's the family you see in the movie. That I guess what she does is any family that moves into the house, she would torment them at first, and then eventually would possess the mother and make the mother kill all of her children and then commit suicide.
I don't know if I'm remembering this right, but didn't the mother I'm trying to remember how the clap game came around. How the fuck did that come around?
Where did that come from?
Because you would think that was a game that the original mom played with her kids,
Right.
But yeah, I thought there was something maybe she had her kids play the clap game and then killed them or something like that. I don't know. I could have sworn there was something like that.
Yeah, I only watched the movie once when it first came out, so it's been a little while.
I saw it at the drive-in theater just one time, and then I saw the sequel maybe a couple months ago, but yeah, I mean, that's definitely a cool backstory. To be honest, I don't even think I gathered all that from watching it the one time that I did, so it's nice to have some.
I kind of had to deep dive, Wikipedia on that shit.
Alright, so here, I'll pass it off to me for a turn. Obviously, this one's really obvious, but Freddy Krueger has an amazing origin story, especially when you get details in the sequels. So, if you want to count all the sequels, he's a child murderer that while he was getting burned alive from the parents and all that, he apparently made a deal with these 3 dream demons that were you could join us and work for us, and you'll be immortal in the dream world. So he makes this pact with the 3 dream demons, and he becomes Freddy Krueger, the dream stalker slasher motherfucker. But I mean, his regular origin story is cool enough as it is, about how he would kill the children and how the parents got revenge. But when you start getting into the dream demon thing, I thought that was really cool.
Because, yeah.
Even though it's a little silly to add that on to his realistic, backstory, I think it was pretty funny. And I think the first time they even mentioned the whole dream demon thing was in Freddy's Dead: The Final Nightmare, with the whole 3D sequence where you see the dream demons come out and everything. Well, it's funny, so it's a little cheesy, but I love Freddy's backstory, especially considering all that dream demon shit. Of course, another one that we like is Jason. Obviously has a cool story. He was a mentally challenged kid who wasn't being watched by the counselors, who were busy having sex. So that then his mom kills some counselors. They shut it down. They opened it back up 20 years later. The killings start again. But I really don't even know what to say about Jason's origin story, because if you take into consideration that the Necronomicon was in Jason Goes to Hell, and if you take into consideration the comics with Freddy vs. Jason vs. Ash, but even Jason Goes to Hell, that alone suggests that Jason might have been resurrected from the Necronomicon from the start.
Right.
But again, not every fan considers the Necronomicon's appearance as canon proof
Right.
that, it's related. But even if you just look at his backstory as being, a mentally challenged kid whose mom got murdered, so he comes back to avenge her, that's cool alone. But I do like the whole theory about the Necronomicon being used by his desperate mom to get her son back. So, that depending on what canon you look at, no matter what, Jason has really cool origin stories. And before I pass it back to you, I'll do another one.
Yeah.
I love Pumpkinhead. I hardly remember the sequels at all, even though I do have all of them except one. But pretty much this guy's son gets ran over by these dirt bikers, kills them, and they run off or whatever because they were drinking. So he goes to this local witch for help, and he's like, "I want you to help me get revenge for my son." So she gets him to resurrect this demon that is known as Pumpkinhead, and it turns out that the demon Pumpkinhead, he goes around killing the people that killed his son, but it turns out his body is somehow linked with the boy's dad. So anything bad that happens to Pumpkinhead, he'll get stabbed, then he'll get stabbed too, or whatever.
Right.
They're connected. So it's a cool origin story because a witch helps him resurrect this demon from hell or whatever. And I don't know too much about his origins based on the sequels, so I'll have to look more into that, but I thought it was worth mentioning.
Oh yeah.
Alright, I'll pass it back to you for now.
Alright, for my next one, this is the origin story that was so fucking scary to me when I was younger that it has kept me from actually seeing the movie to this day. Candyman.
Oh god.
There was this lifeguard at the pool by my grandma's house when I was a kid, who I would sit and talk to, and he told me all about this movie and the whole backstory.
What a good lifeguard, right?
So much that when I was a little kid, I had to have my parents actually go into the bathroom and say Candyman a couple of times, and
to show that it wouldn't happen.
Yeah, it really freaked me out. And
you still haven't seen it?
I still have never seen it. Nope.
Because I don't find it too scary per se. I mean, the thing that makes it scary is the whole mirror.
Oh
thing.
yeah,
that's pretty much the only thing that did scare me.
Yeah.
And when I was little, me and my cousins would play Bloody Mary and shit. So when I figured out there was Candyman, I was like, great, there's a fucking horror film pretty much based off of that concept.
Yeah.
So that always freaked me out. And trust me, I did the Candyman shit. It freaked me out.
I think the interesting part of the backstory is how sad it is.
Oh yeah, how he was in love with that woman, but since she was white, and it was back in the day, he was executed.
Yeah, apparently, from what I looked up, it said he was the son of a slave who became very wealthy after inventing a machine that would, mass produce shoes during the war.
I don't even remember that, dude.
So I guess, because they had money, that he ended up going to, all these good schools and stuff, and he became, a real gentleman and actually a, well-known painter. And, I guess he was commissioned by this rich guy to capture his daughter's beauty in painting or whatever, and then that's the woman who he fell in love with. And I think she was actually pregnant, and that obviously when the rich father found out about it, he wasn't having none of that.
Yeah.
So
that's so sad. That is a very tragic story, especially for a slasher.
Yeah. So then, obviously, he hires the lynch mob to go kill him.
Yeah.
And
they tie him to the tree, put honey all over him, let the bees come and just fucking sting him to death.
Yep.
And I think the whole reason why the mirror was significant is I think the girl couldn't bear to see her love being executed like that. So I think she might have she turned her back to him, but maybe looked in a mirror just because she couldn't face him.
Right.
Is that what happened? She couldn't face him directly, so she kind of got glimpsed in a mirror to look behind her to see him, or
I don't know.
Something like that. I think that's why the mirror was significant. Unless he gave her a gift that was a mirror to look at herself. I don't remember exactly why the mirror is significant.
Yeah.
But it is significant for some reason.
Yeah, all it really said was that eventually he rose from the grave, obviously looking for vengeance, and that an urban legend had arose that said, obviously, if you say his name 5 times in a mirror or turn the lights on.
Oh, yeah, and they cut his hand off, too. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah.
Which is what gave him this scary signature hook.
And I guess they said, like, that he did it for, like, to prove that he was real, essentially. That, like, he wanted to appear to these people and kill them to, like, keep the story alive of, like, the Candyman, like. So, pretty fucked up, man.
Yeah, that's a very sad story.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say out of all the slashers, he had to be the most sympathetic.
Yeah.
Even though besides Jason, but then again, Jason does get some really good vengeance.
Right.
Well, you know. Any other origin stories that... Oh, I mean, actually, I just thought of a good one. Pinhead. Crazy origin story. No, he was like... I guess he was in Vietnam, I believe it was. You know, I'm a little fuzzy on it, but... Anyway, he was into, like... I guess, like... relics and shit like that. Just like everyone else who's curious when they get the puzzle box or whatever. So, yeah. Pinhead, when he's a human, he opens up the puzzle box. You know, he gets hammered with the demons and gets nailed in the head. But anyway... They don't show any reason why he became, like, the lead Cenobite. Like, there was nothing really significant about him that I could recall.
Right.
Well, you know, he kind of just ended up becoming Pinhead, and then he just kind of became the leader of the Cenobites. But, you know, that's a really cool backstory, even though you don't even get his backstory until part 2.
Right.
Another one, Charles Lee Ray, Chucky from Child's Play. Dude, that backstory is so cool. In fact... all we really know from the first couple films is this guy did voodoo, Charles Lee Ray. He had other friends that did voodoo with him. He transferred his soul into a doll while he was being pursued by the cop in the first one. You get a lot more background on Charles Lee Ray and Curse of Chucky.
Yeah.
I'm kind of fuzzy on some of the details. I think it was more about his relationship with the girl's mom.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, I think they might have said 1 or 2 more things about his voodoo shit. And again... I want to know, is the new one called Cult of Chucky because it's about Charles Lee Ray's voodoo cult? Then again, I don't know. It could be the fact that it's a group of Chuckies, like some people are speculating.
Right.
But regardless, Charles Lee Ray, what a cool backstory.
Oh, yeah.
Of being like a fucking like strangler killer dude who also does voodoo. I don't know, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I guess I'm as well throughout Leprechaun. Because Leprechaun's very silly. I mean, I always kind of found him funny. Even though I actually was scared of him just from the movie because up until I finally saw Leprechaun. Because I still saw Leprechaun when I was young. But even when I was young, it was a little silly.
Yeah.
But obviously, you know what? Maybe I'll find out more about his origin from Leprechaun Origins. Made by WWE.
Yeah.
I did not see it. I don't know if I want to see it. But, you know, he has a cool story of just the fact that he's this ancient fucking leprechaun that, you know, he's always trying to protect his gold and all that. You know, it's silly, but maybe I'll have to watch the origin to get more of the origin.
Yeah.
If it even is the same leprechaun. But, I mean, that's all I got to really say about cool origins.
Yeah, I only had one more. And
okay. So what's this one then?
It's like a personal fan sort of thing. The Phantom of the Opera.
Okay.
It's mostly like the backstory you get from like the book version and more like the movie stuff than the well-known musical. But obviously that he was born deformed with the face and stuff, and like his family all like hated him for it, so he ended up running away and joining a band of gypsies, and he was in their freak show. I think they called him like the Living Death.
Ooh, that's not nice.
But like while the time he was there, he learned how to do like great magic tricks and stuff. And he gets kind of a reputation for like not only his like look, but his tricks and his singing voice. And he actually gets mentioned by a fur trader to the Shah of Persia, who decides like, oh, I'm gonna bring this dude on and like have him work for me, and he has him build him this like huge like mansion type estate. But I guess while he's working for him doing that, he also becomes like an assassin and like is killing people with this like hanging technique called like the Punjab lasso.
Oh, wow.
So eventually he finishes like building this place for him, this palace, and the Shah is so happy with it and is like, I don't want anybody to be able to ever have anything that looks like this, so I'm going to have this guy blinded so that he can't ever build again for somebody. But he decides, well, he could probably build from like memory or tell somebody else, so fuck having him blinded, I'm going to have him killed. Obviously the attempt fails, but then we'll call him the Phantom or whatever, like he ends up like running all around the world, like just basically like trying to make money doing this whole contracting thing and stuff, but eventually decides that he's like tired of being on the run, so he goes back to Paris, where he gets the job to work on the Paris Opera, and he basically turns the place into his own like little playground, like building all like trapdoors and secret passageways and shit in there.
Something I'm wondering is, how consistent is that general origin with the original Universal one, I wonder? Because I did see the 2000s version.
Right.
Even though I personally wasn't too into it, but I always wondered, how different is it from the black and white Lon Chaney Phantom of the Opera?
Yeah, I've never...
I never saw the entire black and white one, but
yeah,
I know the general thing, but I wonder if it has the same origin story with him traveling with gypsies and all. Because obviously he still has the organ and all that, so he still has some musical background.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, actually, I think the original one was silent still. Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Phantom of the Opera was silent.
Yeah, it would make sense.
I think it was the original.
I mean, I've never seen it.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty damn sure it's silent, because I remember like some of the expressions he would make at the people, like actually his death in the original, like right before the people killed him, he acted like he had something in his hand, like something really bad, and he was like, ah, and everyone flinched, and then he was just like, ha ha, I gotcha, and he opens up his hand, and then I guess they kill him. But,
yeah.
I don't know, so I do remember seeing the 2000s one, but yeah, there was like a lot of singing and shit now.
Right, yeah, because it's been turned from like just the normal story.
So they probably
like,
pulled from the Broadway production too, even.
Most of the backstory would be like from the novel, if anything. Like you don't get a lot of this in like the musical.
Oh, all right.
You get like cool. A little bit, but it doesn't go too deep.
Shit, well, it definitely makes me want to watch the original, so just to see the consistency there. But yeah, it's cool. How old is that book even, I wonder? Is it like really old, like Frankenstein would be and Dracula would be?
It's like old enough that it's one of those like
Universal
public domain books now, yeah.
And it was old enough to be a Universal Pictures.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Well, yeah, again, tons of origin stories out there for awesome horror icons. So share us your the favorite ones that you have with us. There's tons out there, so I'm sure you guys could comment and give us some cool back stories for us to look into. So yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for cool origin stories and backgrounds of these killers that we like to watch. So that'll be it. Kurious Cyclopes
and Steve.
Thank you for watching Never Sleep Again TV.